the imposter syndrome. And it doesn't matter how many degrees you have on the wall. I've worked with leaders in companies, large companies, and everybody has moments of imposter syndrome. And then those people that are trying to start a business, so a service-based business, like what you're talking about, a lot of times they're like, well, who am I? Who am I to tell people what to do? Who am I? Why would people want to, watch my videos? Or they'll say, what will people say? What will people think?
What's up, speaker fam? Welcome to I Speak Organized. I'm your host, Melanie Summers, professional organizer, ADHD organizing specialist, and your go-to gal for all things pro organizing business. I like to speak organized to give you the tools to conquer your clutter, live life with more purpose, and learn all about the business of tidying. Do me a favor, if you have not subscribed to the channel already, go ahead and take out your device and tap that subscribe button so that you become a member of the speaker fam. And as you get value out of today's podcast episode, please hit that thumbs up and tap the notification bell if you're watching on YouTube so that you're notified whenever we post content every single week. If you are an Apple Podcast user, you can give us that rave 5-star review so that people just like you who are aspiring professional organizers, organizing enthusiasts can benefit from the resources and tools that we provide here at the Speak Organized podcast. That would help the channel grow, and we would be so appreciative. Now, if you're looking for a place to get started and you're new to the Speak Organized universe, I want you to head to the description of the video on the podcast show notes, where you can join our free Facebook group. It's full of thousands of members of organizing enthusiasts and aspiring pro organizers, people who are looking to grow in the industry, asking and answering questions. It's a super supportive and very engaged group, and that link is going to be down in the description and the podcast show notes. So head down there and join that group today. Woohoo! Speaker fam! This is very exciting times. I'm pleased to introduce our next guest. This is Christine Blosdale, and she's coming to us from down under.
Down under.
But she's American. So we'll get into all of that. Maybe. I don't know. But I want to welcome you, Christine, to the show. Thanks for coming on today.
Thank you, Melanie. I love your energy, so I'm super stoked. You can help wake me up because I know the time zone difference is kind of wacky.
Yeah. It's tomorrow where you're at.
Yes,
for me.
And and the planet is still here. We're here.
And we're doing it. I always think about people that are like, Alaska, Russia, and like when you meet in the middle, right where that ocean line is there, and it's like yesterday and today, a full almost 24 hours, and it doesn't make any sense to me.
Do you think about that a lot?
Yes. Welcome to my brain. These are things that keep me up at night. Anyway, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about you. So I want to introduce you first, obviously, give you the mic and let you kind of tell our audience about who you are and what you've done, but just as like a little bit of a snapshot, 25 years.
Super quick. Right.
Yeah,
super quick snapshot so we can help them out.
Exactly. Tell us about your 25-year journey getting here.
Oh, you want me to start? You want me to go? You want me to jump in?
Yeah,
okay. Well, I was born. I'm from Los Angeles originally. I was born and raised in LA, so very international. Growing up, we had and I grew up in a kind of a poor neighborhood, so in the San Fernando Valley. And back in the day when, it was a different world. It was a little bit of I feel like my grandmother was saying, when I was a kid, we were safe. No, it was just it was a little bit of a different world. But I grew up in a really loving space and home. And my grandmother and my mother really, were just phenomenal raising me. And one thing that was really important as a kid growing up was that my mom, she would get ready to go to work. My parents divorced. Mm-hmm. And so she would be getting ready to go to work at night, right? She was a single mom, and she'd be getting dressed, and she would ask me about what she was wearing. Like she would say, is this okay? Does this look good? Honey, do I look pretty or whatever? And I could give my honest opinion. And I'd go, the boots don't go with the thing, but maybe if you tried this. And as a little kid, my opinion really mattered. And she would change, she would put something else on, and she'd go, what about now? I go, yeah, you're great. And so at a really young age, I learned that my opinion mattered, and I pay very close attention to things. Right. Mm-hmm. And so that just parlayed me as a child, knowing that I had a bit of value in what my thoughts were and my opinion. Right. So fast forward, you do all the stuff that you do, you go to school, you hate being a teenager, go to college. wanted to be a teacher. I ended up being a teacher by being a coach. But when I got out of college and I saw what they were paying teachers, I was like, are you kidding? So just tried to find my way. And eventually I was really lucky to get a job with America Online. And that was, you're too young to know this, but America Online was it. That was Facebook, TikTok, everything rolled into one. It was our world, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I got to write for them because they had writers back then. They didn't have video stars or anything. And so I got to write for them for a bit. And that was all in entertainment land. So that was all in Hollywood. And it was about celebrities and movie reviews and entertainment gossip and all that good stuff, right? And so I did that for a bit, and it was great. It was fun. It was exciting. But then 9/11 happened, and everything, it was as if, the screeching, you could hear just everything stopped. And I really kind of questioned what I was doing. I was like, is this really important in the great scheme of things, right? And so I was really looking for something. And as you know, when you're searching for something different, a lot of times it'll just come right into your face. It'll just pop up. Yeah. And I was driving in traffic, as you do in Los Angeles, on the freeway, stuck in traffic, and channel surfing on the radio. And I came across this radio station that was really unique and different. And it wasn't a lot of fear-based stuff. And during 9/11, that's all we were exposed to was scary, fear. And so I actually went into that radio. I drove into the station and wanted to thank everybody that worked there for what they were doing under really difficult circumstances. And they were like, oh my God, you came in to like say nice things. Like they were used to people, I guess, complaining. Yeah. And so I said, yeah, I said, I work for America Online and I do entertainment stuff. And what you guys are doing is really important. And they said, you should come in. You should come in and volunteer. And so I did, because I wanted to have something that I felt really good about, the work that I was doing. And one thing led to another. Somebody was leaving, this, that, and the other. I got a job. I started producing, started hosting, and I was there for 20 years. Wow. At that radio station. And it completely changed my world. I fell in love with the art of the interview. I fell in love with audio, and how with radio and podcasting, you don't see the person. You only hear them. You only feel their intention. And it's a very powerful medium. And so I respected it very much. And then podcasting came up, and I was like, yeah, this is cool, because I can have my own show and I can do anything I want, and I can say anything I want, and there's no program director saying anything. And so got into podcasting and started coaching people on communication and the art of sending our messages out and communicating with the world what it is that we do, storytelling, all of that good stuff. So that's how I got started in this. That's a very long answer to your question.
No, it's great. I think the color is very important, filling in the page. You have the lines here. We got to fill them in with the color. So this is good. Yeah. And you're being very humble. Also, I want to say thank you that you think I'm so young that I don't remember AOL. For those who don't know what America Online is, you guys, it's AOL. Okay. Some of us remember plugging in the phone jack to the computer and sitting there listening to the ee-aw, as we waited for the frickin' internet to connect. And then all of our favorite AOL Instant Messenger screen names. I had Moo Moo Girl 14. I had Crazy 3. Actually, just a very short tangent. The reason why my business is called I Speak Organized is because my favorite screen name on AOL IM was I Speak Dancer, because I used to be a ballet dancer for many years.
Get out of here.
I know. So that is literally the reason why my business is called I Speak Organized.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. That's such a great origin story.
Right. So thank you for saying that I'm young. Yeah. I appreciate it. And now I want to also point out a second thing. Christine is being very humble here, because, this is sort of like a 25-year span of her journey here as a columnist, radio host, podcaster, best-selling author. And then we're going to also talk about the coaching. So, I would love to hear sort of what that maybe, if you have that pivotal moment that made you realize that you were on the path to becoming what we call an expert authority coach.
Yes. So I think much of my years, at the radio station for 20 years, it developed it helped hone in and develop my opinion quite a bit, right? As I was fostered at a really young age that my opinion mattered, but I paid very close attention. And as a podcast host, Melanie, that a really great podcast hosts are very good listeners. Mm-hmm. And they listen closely and pick up, and not only pick up what they're interested in following up on and learning more about, but they can connect with the audience and go, oh, my audience is telling me psychically, hey, wait, she just said this. You need to go back and you need to ask about this, right? Mm-hmm. Or you need to follow up with this question. And that's a gift. That's a skill set that you can't really teach.
True.
But the best people, the best interviewers and podcast hosts and radio hosts know that skill, right? Mm-hmm. And so I developed it for so long that when I was working with people, or even people that came on the show, they would have a business or they would have a book. They'd be authors and things like that. And I was like, my intuition was saying, does this person have a business? Does this person have, this, that, and the other? And they were like, no, I don't. I just wrote this book. And I'm like, you have an empire. You've got all this stuff that you could take and repurpose and create, because I like to create. I like to create books. I like to create, webinars. I like to create all that stuff. And so I found that I was giving free advice for many years and saying, oh, you know what, you think about this. What about that? And they were like, oh my God, that's great. And then they went on and, created products and did all this stuff. And I was like, wait a second, I'm actually a coach.
Yeah.
Which is a different version of a teacher, right? I love giving skills to my clients. I love teaching them how to create videos, how to edit them, how to write that book, how to market that book, how to do those types of things. I love it because when their light goes on in their head, you can see it, the light bulb goes on and they go, oh, I get it. It's exciting, 100%. And so that's why I've developed that sort of that expert authority. And a lot of times people come to me and they go, I don't know what it is that I want to do. I just know I hate my job, or I have a passion for something, but I feel overwhelmed. And that's really the people that come to me. They're overwhelmed. They don't know the first thing to do. They're like, do I do Instagram? Do I do TikTok? Do I do this? Do I do that? And I calm them down. And I say, first of all, we're going to get over the imposter syndrome that you have, and then we'll start fresh. And so we can jump into that topic. That's always a fun one.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. There's so many little juicy tidbits that we can extrapolate on here. And I think it's important too, to understand that the world that we live in now, and especially in the digital age, everything is so different in the way that you come into your full identity and you're becoming the go-to authority in your space. It doesn't happen the way that it did when we were kids, or, you go to school, you go to college, you get a degree. I actually didn't end up going to college, and I'm glad I didn't, because I'd be paying my husband's student loans now. So anyway, that's a whole other story. But, now there are so many ways in which we can step into our identity and our authority without having to follow that traditional path. And I saw somebody on LinkedIn coin the term a star, which is skilled through alternative routes. And I loved that because
I like that. Yeah.
Right. I was like, that's me. And that's so many of the clients that I'm sure come to you, and a lot of your path as well. So the topic that you and I kind of chose today, if we're going to distill it down, is called From Best Kept Secret to Go-To Authority. And so for my audience, this is really something that people struggle with. And professional organizing in particular is a relatively new-ish industry. It's been around for, a few dozen decades or something like that. And so people don't really understand how to be visible. And there's sort of an old guard and a new guard. And so the new guard is understanding, okay, I have to be visible online. I have to understand digital marketing and all of these different things. And so that's why I brought you on the show. And it's very powerful positioning. So what usually holds experts back from stepping confidently into the spotlight?
It's the imposter syndrome. And it doesn't matter how many degrees you have on the wall, how many years. I've worked with, leaders in companies, large companies, and everybody has moments of imposter syndrome. And then those people that are trying to start a business, so a service-based business, like what you're talking about, a lot of times they're like, well, who am I to tell people what to do? Who am I? Why would people want to, watch my videos? Or they'll say, what will people say? What will people think? Right? We're so worried about judgment. And that's because when we were little tiny kids, we were worried about what the other kindergartners were going to say to us, right? So the most important thing when I have clients that are like that is we want to get over that. If we don't get over that, we're not going to succeed in getting our messages out, because we'll come from a place of desperation. We'll come from a needy place, right? The scarcity mindset and all of that. And we don't want to. We want to come from a place of that we've already arrived. We already know that we are an expert at what we do. And now we want to just kind of position ourselves into why we're different than maybe the other people that do the same thing. Right? There's tons of business coaches out there. There's tons of social media coaches out there, but there's nobody that has the skill set that I have from all those decades of working, for horrible wages, but all those decades of learning and upping my skills, that nobody has that experience. Nobody has the experience of working with a group of people that are very talented, like in a radio station, you've got all these amazing folks, but it's like wrangling cats, and they're very creative. But, along with that creativity, sometimes you got to get everybody on board and say, we need to work together to get this done. So are there other business coaches out there? Yes. Is there anybody that's like me? No. So the main thing is in all my marketing, I need to show how different I am, right? I am not corporate. I am not stuffy. I love humor. I like to laugh. So my style is very fun. And when I work with people, I say, I'm simple, easy, and fun. What we're going to do is going to be simple, easy, and fun. Okay. Is there a hard way to do things and an easy way to do things? Yes. And I like to do the easier way to do things, because when you do that, you become more successful. You try something. Hey, I accomplished that. That's great. I'll take another step. Right. And I'll do another step. So that's really important. And how we stand out is basically, you're the brand.
Right. It's
not a product like you're not a stapler, right? You're not something like that, or you're not a box of cereal. It's you are the actual brand. Now, the service that you provide with organizing, right, is very, very important. And that's what people are buying, but they're actually buying you because they need to trust you.
True.
They need to trust you with their hard-earned money. They need to trust you that you are going to follow through, but that you're also going to do an amazing job, and it's going to be enjoyable for them.
Right.
Because also what you're doing, you're going into people's,
underwear drawers.
Exactly.
I could tell you some stories for sure.
Oh, I'm sure you could.
That's next time.
But you have to get that across. And see, with Melanie, just the few moments that I've been with you, I already know your personality. I already feel comfortable with you. So I feel comfortable with you going through our underwear drawer. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It sounds so weird. I know.
No, but it doesn't, because people buy from people. You're absolutely right. Everything you're putting down. I'm sitting here like, if my neck is going to be sore. All right, fam, imagine this. You are sitting here in 6 months, sitting right where you are now, and you're running your own professional organizing business that is effortlessly scaling to 6 figures. How awesome would that be? But let me guess, you're sitting here today and you've got that voice of imposter syndrome whispering in your ear, who am I to do this? Well, let me tell you, I have been there, and it is not only possible to overcome those doubts, it is essential, because your future clients are looking for you, not anybody else, you. So, how do you scale a 6-figure business? It's easy. You stick with me. I got you. It is my honor to introduce you to my Empowered Organizer membership community, which is a game changer for turning your passion into, if you want, a full-time 6-figure gig. We've got done-for-you scripts and resources, collaborative monthly coaching calls, and a supportive community to fast-track your success by avoiding all the superfluous fluff and, of course, all the dumb mistakes that I've made over the years, so that you don't have to make the same ones. You're welcome. Head to melaniesummerscoaching.com/empowered-organizer to learn more and enroll today. And don't worry, it's kind of like your favorite streaming subscription service. You can cancel anytime and renew when you want. And if that weren't convincing enough, let me give you just a little taste of the treasure trove that you'll find when you head to ispeakorganize.com/courses. First, you'll definitely want to check out my overbooked course, packed with golden nuggets to help you get clients and fill your calendar so that you can work full-time as a professional organizer. Or if you need a little personalized guidance, my one-on-one coaching sessions are perfect for getting your most burning questions answered, helping you move forward confidently. Or how about I save you loads of precious time with my professional organizer forms pack, 9 done-for-you customizable forms, including a client agreement, so that you can start taking paying clients ASAP. And don't miss my ChatGPT prompt guide with over 750 prompts to optimize tasks like social media captions, blog posts, and more, engineered for success every time. Again, visit ispeakorganized.com/courses to explore all these options and more. Are you ready to take the leap? Visit the link. I know you want to. For those people who are listening, because my head is bobbing up and down so fiercely with everything that you're saying right now.
Amen.
It's true.
Amen.
It's
Yeah.
true. It's all true. And, you know, it's the way that you differentiate yourself is by being yourself. Like, everybody's trying to be beige. They're trying to be pizza. They're trying to do what everybody else is doing. And to a degree, we all kind of do the same thing. But the way that you infuse you is what's important. So I think that, yes. But for some reason that's so hard to like wrap our brains around and actually like have the confidence to do it. So why not talk to a coach who's going to help you get over that imposter syndrome, punch the fear in the face and go for it. So yeah, leads yes. to my next kind of question here. You reference this triple win, the win-win-win yes. moment, right? So because this all sounds awesome in theory, right? But let's hear what it's like in practice. So tell us about a classic win-win-win moment when you helped a client, your audience, or whoever, and that's how you and your own brand were succeeding together.
Okay. So I like to equate this whole idea that greed is dead. Mm-hmm. We see it all around us in politics, in Hollywood. Okay. The idea of hoarding and screwing people over, getting as much money as possible, that is going the way of the dodo bird, okay? And we are, as a society, we are looking for authenticity and relatability. We want to connect, right? And so if I'm able to do something in which I win as a coach, okay, or as a business owner, in which I win, but then also the people that I serve or that I claim to serve, right? My clients, the audience, the podcast audience, the world, whatever. Mm-hmm. If they win also through this thing that we do, so that's a win-win. What happens is that when I win and my clients win or the audience wins, it creates its own cool energy. And then it's like a ripple effect, right? So there's no greed involved. It's a thing where we all benefit. Mm-hmm. And if we all benefit, then it has its own energy. And not to get too woo-woo on you, but it does. It has a really nice energy about it, right? Mm-hmm. And so a perfect example, because I know people are going, "What are you talking about?" I just launched what we call a bundle giveaway, right? Or people call them stacks or bundles. And basically, I gathered 15 expert authorities in their own field, people who are experts in LinkedIn, people who are experts in mindset, mm-hmm. right? Mindset matters. People who are experts in coaching, in coaching coaches, right? All these different people, and experts in how to launch a program, how to create a bundle, all these things. And I said, let's give the audience, let's give our followers and our database something free that has high value, something free for them, and we'll all pull all of our things together so that the audience doesn't get just my free offer, but they'll get your free offer and your free offer and your free offer. So the value of this bundle goes up to over $5,000, right? Mm-hmm. From all the things. And these are courses, but also coaching sessions and value.
Yeah.
So with this bundle, we're like in the middle of it right now. And I'm getting such great feedback from everybody. The people that are getting the bundle with all these amazing programs, they're happy because it didn't cost them a dime. Mm-hmm. The people that are the collaborators with me are happy because their email database has just risen. They're getting new clients because, right? Yep. So I'm sharing my audience. They're sharing their audience. And this is what we call warm leads. Mm-hmm. A warm lead is somebody that knows about you. they're already working with somebody. They're already in somebody else's stratosphere, and they're coming into your world. So we've got the collaborators are winning. The audience is winning, right? All the collected database of people are winning. And then we're sparking something within those people that is going to make them go and create. Maybe they were struggling. Maybe they had imposter syndrome. Mm-hmm. And after getting this bundle, they're like, you know what? I think I could do this. I like that Christine Blosdale lady, and I get a free session with her to talk about my issues. So I'm going to book that now. Mm-hmm. Do you see? Yep. So it has that ripple effect. That's again, a very long answer to your question, but that's an example of a win-win-win situation.
Yeah, you're creating an environment of winning, and there's really nothing better. One of my favorite books that I reference and go back to year after year is called The Go-Giver. And it basically is about that. It's about creating an environment where you are intent on giving. And in order to be able to do that, there has to be somebody to receive. So you have to be okay with both, because you got to close the loop. And so when you give, somebody else is going to want to give back to you. And that's, I mean, when I started my YouTube channel, because I started YouTube before podcasting, and I was giving away a lot of stuff for free. I didn't know what I was doing, very similar to what you were talking about. And then people started telling me, I want to pay you for this information. And I was like, me? And, wasn't charging much at the time, but it built up a coaching business organically on its own, because I was sharing from the goodness of my heart, and I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but figured it out eventually. And it became its own ecosystem. So when you're talking about it being woo-woo, I don't think that that's the case at all. I think that's just the way that the energy of the universe works. That's the way that it's supposed to be.
It's the way it's supposed to be. And it's the way, I will tell you that, again, when we're talking about the old days of greed and scarcity, that is going away. What is coming through is those good deeds that you do, but also the collaboration, co-ventures and collaboration. I mean, we're great when we're by ourselves and we're alone. That's awesome. And when I do certain things, I have to do it alone. But I find that when I'm able to join forces, I gave the example of this the other day. I said, Superman and Batman alone are great. But one thing, when you have something that's going to overtake the planet and destroy all humanity, it's the superheroes that get together, right? It's the Marvel team, because they all have their own skill set. I'm really good at what I do, but I can't do what you do, Melanie, right? And I can't do what these other coaches are doing. But if I join forces, then we give the audience, our clients, our potential clients, we give them so much more. So, and I'm not worried about someone stealing my client. I'm overflowing, right? So I don't have that scarcity thing of, oh my gosh, if my clients get to know Melanie, they're going to go with her. It's like some, thing like, oh, she's cuter than me, and they're going to go want to date her.
Right.
It's that keeps people, locked into a really icky place. So I think that's what's going to happen in this next year, next 2 years. It's going to be more of that collaboration stuff.
Yeah. And it's so important, shifting from a mindset of flexibility versus that sort of fixed scarcity place. Yeah. It's a hard thing to break people out of, and you really do need coaching and therapy and like things to get over it.
Yes.
So speaking of that, because it bottom line is, I'm a public speaker. One of my keynote topics is slay the fear monster. And it's basically amplifying your self-belief to awaken the potential that you have to share your true identity with people. And so that's my thing.
Love it.
So the biggest mistake, because we're going to talk about this next, is allowing fear to make decisions for you. And fear masquerades as perfectionism. It masquerades as all kinds of different things. Scarcity, like needing my thing, needing to take care of myself, making it about me versus, what can I give? How can I flip the script and know that I will then be creating abundance in my own life by creating abundance for others, blah, blah, blah. Yes. Basically everything we just talked about. So what do you, and hopefully I haven't just like given it all away, but what do you feel is the most common mistake that you see in personal branding, for example? And so how can we course correct with let's take that topic. So something simple and effective.
I will tell you, and this kind of goes back into a little bit in the imposter syndrome thing, because people, well, when they come to me, they're stuck, right? They're stuck or overwhelmed. And they'll say, well, what will people think? What about, what will people think about me? Right? Don't I need to, tell people how great I am and all these other things? And what I say is, it's actually, even though the brand is you, it's not about you.
Right.
And they go, huh? What? It's not about you. It's about your successes with clients. It's about them having their breakthroughs and their success. It's not so much about your success. Yes, you're going to use some of your successes in your marketing, right? You mentioned earlier, I was a best-selling author. That's something that I put out for my marketing, because people know that I'm an expert in the topic the books that I've written, right? Mm-hmm. 5 bestsellers, 4 of them are all about podcasting. The last one is social media and branding, but it gives people the idea. Now, really, the most important thing is the people that I serve and how successful they are. Mm-hmm. Okay? Because I can tell everybody till the cows come home how amazing I am, me, I, and that will drive, that's an energy, that's also an energy that people just,
yeah.
So it's a balancing act of saying, I know what I'm talking about, but it's also what's the most important thing. And so for those of you too who do have a little bit of that imposter syndrome, and you're like, oh, I don't know, what are people going to say? It's not about you. Take the focus off of you and how you look and how you appear, and focus on the people you want to serve. If you want to help your community, if you want to help kids, if you want to help somebody lose 10 pounds so they feel better in their body or feel healthier, focus on them and their results more than you, if that makes sense.
It does. Yeah. And I mean, I guarantee you the introverts listening are like, finally, because everybody doesn't want to make it about themselves, and they feel uncomfortable putting themselves out there because they don't want to talk about themselves. They want to be a faceless brand or whatever it happens to be. And when you give them permission to not make it about you, but the result that you produce, the fruit that you create, is the thing that you want to be promoting. And yes, social proof is important. The publications you write for, or the books that you've written and where they rank, that's all part of your quote unquote social proof. Is it important? To a degree, because it shows that you're an expert in your field and whatnot. But there are other things that you can do, obviously, that we're going to get into to build that authority and build it the right way. So this is what I want to kind of dive into next, because you constantly champion video content specifically. And this is going to make some people's shoulders start to go up into their ears, and they're like, no, I don't want to have this conversation, but we're going to have it because it's important, because it's 2025 for the next 6 months, and then it's 2026. So TikTok, Reels, Shorts. For somebody starting today, what's the first 60-second clip they should record, and why?
This is what I do with all my clients after getting over the imposter syndrome, and then after creating actually a media kit. We create like a 1-sheet media kit, right? We do that because we're creating a persona, we're creating a avatar of who we want to be. Okay. So we're gonna build ourselves into that. But the first thing that I say when it comes to video is that if you have a website, and if you are in business, you should have a website or a landing page at the very least. Mm-hmm. But if you have your website, when people pull up the website, instead of seeing a bunch of copy, a bunch of text, a picture of you from the 1980s and all of your accolades and all that stuff, I want to see, when they pull up that website, right away, a video start playing. And that video can be, we call it a branding video, a welcome video, welcome to my world video, whatever you want to call it. And that video is you speaking directly to your ideal client or customer. Okay. And you're speaking directly to them, and you're saying, hi, hey, welcome to my website, or welcome to my world. I'm Christine Blosdale. I'm an expert authority business coach, and I help overwhelmed entrepreneurs, coaches, authors. I help them get the word out about their business. And I'm so excited that you found me, that you came here, whatever words you want to use and your style. But that video needs to play right away, because you're looking at them in the eyes. They can see you, they can visualize who you are, and they get a feel for you right away by hearing your voice, by seeing you smile, right? You're not shifty-eyed, You're somebody, because you need to be authentic, but they also need to trust you. And so that's super important. That's your video that you're going to create and post on your website. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, when it comes to video, though, it's one thing when you say how great you are. Okay. And I tell people, don't say how great you are. Okay. When I said my introduction on that, I said I'm an expert authority business coach. I help people, again, on them. I did not say I'm a 5-time best-selling author. I just was awarded the Women's Podcast Award. I didn't say any of that.
Mm-hmm.
But the other part of video that's important is you have clients or customers those who love you, instead of having them write you a testimonial or a review and have it be written, have them do a video. Have them take their phone. Some of my clients, they do full on productions. They're recorded in Zoom. They got music in the background. They got captions. And I'm like,
amazing.
I taught her that. But you can have them just take their phone and just say, oh my gosh, I have to tell you, I've worked with Melanie. You need to hire her right now because she helped me go from this to that. And she's amazing. Okay. And then they'll send that to you, and you make sure, because if they have a business, make sure that when you post that testimonial from them, that video, that you also put a link to their website or you give them a shout out for their business, right? Because then they're happy to have that. That way, you're not telling people how great you are. You're having other people say how great you are, if that makes sense.
It does. And what you also have just designed through this very simple practice is that win-win-win strategy again, because
exactamundo.
Right? Like, and this is a simple practical tip. So if we just rewind and summarize it a little bit, you have the visual proof, from a review, which is better than a written review.
Absolutely.
Somebody talking about how awesome you are. So you're not having to say that yourself.
Yes.
And then you're also providing them with a platform on your website with a backlink. Hello, SEO, first of all.
Yes.
Yes. Huge driver for business, especially for a small business owner who is looking for local business. SEO is king, and very important that you show up in that Google Map stack or that map pack right there. So if you are giving them that opportunity, win-win-win, echo chamber, winning.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's all done for you. That's the beauty of it. And because written reviews, people can say, because there's always, the folks that are the skeptics, and they'll go, oh, wow, this person, Susie Smith, says all this glorifying stuff about Christine. Well, she could have made that up. Christine could have just faked that, right? It could be a phony review.
Sometimes it is.
But when it's video, it's very difficult to say that that's a phony review, right? Because then people can say, I have one client she didn't even know she wanted a podcast. She said, I didn't want a podcast until I talked to Christine. And then I helped her create her podcast and market it and everything. And she says like, I can't believe that I actually have my own podcast now. She showed me how to do it, and it was absolutely amazing. And now she's reaching people, that she couldn't reach before. And when you actually go to her podcast, you see it's her name, it's her podcast. So it's social proof right there, right?
Right.
It's not this vague thing where it's like, oh, she made that up.
Right. And it's so simple. Like when you just put yourself out there, that alone, and I've been shocked by this over the years, being on YouTube and having a podcast, just by the virtue of the fact that I did that. When I talk to clients, they're like, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe I'm talking to you in real life. And I'm like, what? Are you serious?
Oh,
it's amazing.
cute.
It's good, right?
That's cute.
Isn't it? I love it though, but it's just because you made the thing, just for the fact of doing the thing. So yeah, I really, we're talking a lot about imposter syndrome, but that's because this is important. And there's going to be people that are sitting here still in this moment being very skeptical of everything that we're talking about, because and in every speaking engagement I ever do, there's always 1 or 2 or 3 people, however many people are in the room, that are expecting, because you get the feedback from them, right? They fill out the form in the survey. Right. And they're expecting this magic bullet of information. The heavens open up and the angels sing and God himself is like, this is what you have to do. And that, like, we don't provide that, we just provide the avenue. And often, like you said, it's going to be simple. It's going to be easy. And it's going to be fun. Like that's the key. Oftentimes is it's the simple, easy, and fun stuff that works. So You work with a lot of really brilliant people who still doubt themselves. People listening to this and watching this episode right now are brilliant people that are still doubting themselves. So what's one practical habit or reminder that you would give them to help silence that inner critic and step up with confidence?
I have to always bring them back to, who is it that you say that you want to help? Are you just doing this because you want to make money, or because you think it's cool to say that you're a coach, or are you really passionate about helping? And when you get back to that question with people and you say, why do you want to do this? And who are you wanting to serve? Who are you wanting to help? I'm very clear on who I want to help, and I'm very clear on who my client base is, right? It just so happens, and I do have a few male clients, but majority are women, and majority are in their 40s, 50s, 60s. I've even got 75, 76-year-olds. I have a new client who's 82.
Wow.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Because women are kicking ass right now. And women are like, you know what? I want to do what I want to do. There's a whole renaissance since COVID that's happened, by the way. But for those, I try to bring them back to, like, who is it that you want to serve? We still have this thing in the very, very, very back of our mind. Maybe it's because I believe in reincarnation. So maybe it's because we were once in a cave, and if we stood out, if we were different, we got kicked out of the cave, or they had the fear of being kicked out of the cave. And then how are we going to survive? Because the dinosaurs are going to eat us, right?
Right.
So you had to play along, and you had to pretend like, everything's okay. So maybe if you were gay, you had to pretend like you're not, you had to pretend, okay, because this is the tribe that's going to keep me protected. Mm-hmm. That is a real thing that we still have.
Still.
And when you realize, and you go and you realize how silly that is, you can go, you know what? Why am I wanting to be in the cave with all these cave people? Maybe I can go outside of the cave and I'm not going to die. Mm-hmm. But maybe if I go outside of the cave, I'll find that there's something completely different, and I can live a completely different life, right? We're so conditioned for that. We don't want to get kicked off the island. We don't want to get kicked out of the cave.
True.
And so and there's so many examples in life that people have where they jump off of that cliff, or they, say, I've got that feeling inside that I need to do this. And they listen to their intuition, and magic happens. Mm-hmm. And that's what we need to focus in on, those magical moments. Mm-hmm. And then get guidance. Get guidance from a mentor, from a coach, from somebody that you trust, because you don't need to go it alone. You can actually have somebody guide you on that. And so you can have Melanie guide you, or you can have myself guide you, but just have somebody that has been through it so they can save you time, energy, and frustration and money.
Right. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Just avoid all the pitfalls for sure.
Yeah.
I like to cut the check and take the shortcut. I'll tell you what, that's like the smartest thing I ever learned how to do as an entrepreneur.
Yep.
Oh, because you end up, I always equate it to, I used to call myself Marshmallow Melanie, because it wasn't burning the candle at both ends. It was being roasted like a freaking marshmallow, 360 degrees, like trying to do all the things.
All around. Yeah.
Just stop doing that. I wish I had learned that lesson 10 years ago, but here we are. I do want to talk a little bit more about social media. I think that we kind of danced around it a little bit. And you and I talked about this off camera. So I'm curious, because you kind of refer to TikTok as the wild, wild west of social media. And yes, you're in Australia, or in, you said South Wales,
New South Wales, Australia.
New South Wales. Okay. Yeah. See, this is how much I know.
It's a state in Australia. It's okay.
There you go. See, now you guys are seeing how well versed I am in my world geography here. So, okay. But I'm in the US, and we talked a little bit about, how TikTok shows up in America versus other parts of the world, how you can utilize it, and what are we going to do? So what is I feel like, do you think there's still opportunity there for us? And if so, what's the most surprising opportunity that you've seen emerge there recently?
Well, with TikTok especially, you see, how do I put this? As a society, culture, and this is global, by the way, this is not just in America, but we have completely lost faith in our corporate media. Mm-hmm. Okay.
True.
The news, right? newspapers, television news. We've completely lost faith because we have through especially TikTok, because Facebook and Instagram are owned by the same company. So it's the same organism. YouTube, they censor a lot. Okay. All those platforms.
True.
And TikTok is starting to censor some things, but not like the other platforms. And so you have people that are actually on the ground at places where things are happening, catastrophes, natural disasters, whatever. And they're saying, hey, this is what's happening right now. And the mainstream media, the corporate media is not showing this. But people on TikTok, they're opening up their TikTok channel. They're like, whoa, this is happening right now. And it's not just one creator who's showing that, it's multiple, right? Because the algorithm is such that once you stop and you start watching something, it's going to feed you more information on that subject matter.
Right.
So also be very careful what you start watching.
Yeah.
But what's happened is that people are going to TikTok for their news, right? And for their entertainment.
Yeah.
People are not watching television anymore. They're watching the streaming stuff, the Netflixes of the world, but really they're going to social media. And with TikTok, it's reflective of what's really happening. That's why it's such a target in the US.
Yeah.
They don't want. And I'll tell you, it's so sad if the world does not get American creators' content, it's a tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
And if Americans don't get the world fed back to them, it's a tragedy.
Yeah.
They want to create now a new TikTok called M. And first, as somebody who does branding,
like the letter M.
Yeah. Yes.
So we got an X and we got an M.
And it's going to be owned by a bunch of investors.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me what it's going to be. Okay. So the thing is that it's a unique, and it's not what it was initially even intended for. It's grown. And there's a creator economy that people are making money. They're not able to have a safe and secure job. They don't have the government helping them anymore. They're taking away all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Any support, food support, housing support, that's being taken away. So they're like, oh, I'll go on to TikTok and I'll be funny, or I'll be educational, or I'll share my passion. And they're making a living.
Mm-hmm.
And now that is a threat to whatever the powers that be. So I'm not happy about TikTok going. My account is set up through is an American account.
Oh, interesting.
So if it goes black, if it goes off, my account goes off, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just think it'd be tragic. We need to know, the outside world needs to know what's happening in America.
Yeah.
And America needs to know what the outside world is seeing about America.
Right. Yeah, that has been like a trend that has been happening. I've seen it on Instagram. I've seen it on various other places where they say, non-Americans only, please answer this question. What do you think is happening here in America? Or what do you think about Americans, or this or that? And the answers are fascinating. I've gone down the rabbit hole with that whole comment stream before. You can search it and see what people are saying. It's very, very fascinating. But I just take it one day at a time to see what happens and what basket I want to put my chicken or my egg in, whatever metaphor we're using here. But in terms of talking about content, we know that in general, it's important to be putting stuff out there because as you pointed out, you can make money from doing this. As we talked about earlier, society and the economy function very differently than it did 10 years ago, 20 years ago. And so the way that people are making their mark and being able to make actual money that they can use to feed themselves and buy houses and have, a life, it can be done entirely online if you want it to be, or through running your own small business. And so how do you help creators repurpose content like a pro? Like, walk us through one piece of content, whether it's a webinar, book chapter, and just a quick strategy to scale.
So with many of my clients, not all, but many of them, I recommend that they either create a podcast as a marketing tool for their business. Mm-hmm. If they're skilled in the art of communication and they can talk and they can be a host. Okay. So either that or be a guest on podcasts as an expert authority in their field, right? Mm-hmm. for those of my clients that are super duper talented, I'll say we're going to create your own podcast for your marketing, but we're also going to have you be a guest on podcasts, double duty. Mm-hmm. The great thing about that is that all of that content that you create through being a guest or having your own podcast, all of that content you can repurpose. Okay. I've got 5 best-selling books, but I'm not a writer. And people go, what do you mean? I say, I'm a talker. I'm a speaker. So I take all my webinars and workshops that I do, the free ones that I do, anytime I'm speaking or on my own podcast, I'll take that content, those videos, and I'll turn them, thanks to AI, I'll turn them into readable, enjoyable chapters for a book. Or you can repurpose that into your episodes, your podcast episodes. You can repurpose it into modules for a course.
Yeah.
Okay. So out of having your own podcast, not only can you can write books from your podcast, right? You can create a course from your podcast. You can cut up snippets, vertical snippets that you can then use as viral short videos where you're giving people inspiration or you're saying something funny, whatever your style is. And you can repurpose that and post it on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn even. You can post it also on YouTube Shorts. Yeah. YouTube used to be the king of long format video. Now they're like, no, we're pushing the shorts. So they're promoting the shorts. I can have a horizontal video and we could be talking about the most important thing known to mankind and you get a couple of views. And if I do a little short video doing something silly, there's thousands and thousands of plays on it. Right. So they're pushing out the short content. So those are just a few ways that you can repurpose it, but you can also get since you've got the copy for your chapters in a book, you can create blogs. You can create so much from your own content.
Yeah. Yeah. And as you pointed out, AI does make it a lot easier. The software that we're recording this podcast episode on right now, as soon as I hit stop and end record, it automatically creates vertical 9:16 clips of our conversation, and it will create several of them, and I can go and edit them or send them off to my editor to figure out and whatever else. But the tools kind of take over that content repurposing for you. And I love the idea of repurposing it for a book or repurposing it for a blog or some other sort of form of long form content. So that's why long form content is so powerful, because you can stretch it and put it in all different types of places. And it's so effective. And people wonder, how do you do it all? It's like, you don't. You do it once and then you slice and dice because it's all there. If your message is clear and consistent, then you're basically kind of saying the same things anyway. And so you want to get that message out. You're not having to come up with something new every single time, you hit record or whatever, because you have a central message, And that sometimes is the secret. Just keep it simple, right?
Keep it simple, silly.
Yeah, and fun and authentic, which kind of leads me into our next little bit here as we kind of we're about to cross the finish line here, but we've got a few more questions just because it's fun and we're having a good conversation. And this is stuff that I think is really important. And so you talked about authenticity, and I remember last year sometime I was doing a workshop. I was teaching a workshop about social media content and like how to create fun social media content in business. And the reason why I did that class was because people feel like they need, like, as a small business owner, if you're a plumber or a real estate broker or, a financial planner or something like that, you wear a suit. You think that your content needs to be very professional, like it has to like have this certain vibe that is just not authentic. Like it needs to look beautiful on your feed and everything needs to match and all these different things. And I was like, no, people need to see you be authentic, and it's okay to have fun. It's okay to be funny, even in these business environments. So what do you have to say about that? How does authenticity really influence your audience? Are bloopers okay? Behind the scenes stuff? Do those moments really matter more than we realize?
I think they do, because then you become relatable to people, right? They're like, they're the days of the whole Kardashian, like, perfection, whatever that is, dynasty, kind of thing, untouchable. Yes. It's going the way again, going the way of the dodo bird. I mean, we had not too long ago the whole thing about the expensive luxury handbags. How people have been taken for a ride on that. We're finding that all that glitters is not gold, okay?
Right.
And the illusion of perfection is something that we're not interested in anymore. We're interested in authenticity. Now, depending on the client, like if I may have a client that doing something super, silly and funny is not they're not comfortable with it. They're themselves are not comfortable with it. And I would never tell them you have to do this. But majority of my clients, they don't fall into that category. Mm-hmm. And so I like doing the behind the scenes stuff and the bloopers. People want to know what goes on behind the scenes, Mm-hmm. So even if you're having a Zoom meeting, if you're a coach or you're a speaker, people love seeing not the front facing camera of you speaking. They like to see the side view mm-hmm. where you're doing your thing. You got if you got your headphones on, you got a microphone and they can see people on your screen. They like that kind of thing. Right? Mm-hmm. It's like with painters. People, if you show a picture of a painting that's done, oh, that's cool. That's a cool painting. But people really get into actually seeing you do the creation of it.
True.
So I say, peel back that door and let people, in a bit. And I love funny content. So if a psychologist or psychiatrist looked at my feeds, they'd probably go, what is with this person? Because I'm all over the map when it comes to my content. I do some silly things. I do a couple little serious things here and there, but I'm because I enjoy it. That's my hobby, right? Mm-hmm. That's my passion mm-hmm. is doing these fun bits. So as long as people get an idea of your personality and who you are, then that kind of content is great. It's absolutely, and everything is so serious in the world right now. We do need a little bit of levity from time to time, I believe.
You do, yeah. Otherwise, I think we'd all burst into flames.
I think so.
Good grief. So. Good night. So tell me, Christine, as we continue to prepare to wrap up here, is there a business? I'm just curious if there's a business that you admire for how they use social media, just to kind of give us an example of kind of what you and I are talking about, a mindset, a genuinely service-based business that the audience really resonates with.
There's a few people that I follow on LinkedIn, and I for the longest time I had a love-hate relationship with LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. Now we're dating, we're okay. And part of the reason is because I came across an expert in her field, and she focuses solely on LinkedIn, right? And on making your LinkedIn profile like, the schnitz mm-hmm. and making sure that it communicates who you are and your messaging. And so with her, Sophie Lechner is her name actually, and she's part of my community and my collaboration community. Because she gives, you see, the post that she does, it's not just all about, again, it's not about her. It's not about what she can even do for you. It's giving information. It's giving education and informational stuff that you want, that you need, right? So she's done such a brilliant job at it that you want to go into her world. You want to sign up for her newsletter, because when you get the newsletter, you get something that's really important, and you're like, right, I can start doing that now. I can start implementing that thing now. And so same thing for Melanie and myself. The things that we want to put out there are things that help our audience, our clientele. And it's more about giving them something that they can actually use. And then they'll come back into our world, because they'll go, you know what? I tried that thing that Melanie said, and it really worked. Mm-hmm. It really helped me. So whatever else Melanie's going to bring to me, I'm going to have more faith in, because I've already tried these things, right?
Right.
So it's having that kind of relationship with your audience, I think, is important. Here's the top 3 things I would start doing today to increase my exposure, out into the world. Here's the 3 things you don't want to do. Here, those type of things are very powerful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we're looking for people who have that very simple content to get us hooked and understand what we really need to do. And in the spirit of that, if you want to share with us one single action that you would recommend right now for somebody who's feeling overwhelmed but wants to grow in their expert authority quickly, what would you say they need to get up and do?
Oh,
just one, Christine, just one
I know.
thing.
I would say now some people might go, they go, what is she talking about? No, I really believe in creating the media kit. They call them media kits or electronic press kits. And basically it's like your business, it's like a glorified business card, right? So instead of a little business card that you hand out to people, this is something that you create. You can go into Canva and type up media kit or press kit. They give you all these templates and you just fill in the template with a photo of you, your name, a brief bio. Mm-hmm. Don't go on and on and on forever. Make it brief. But I really do believe in building that persona of who you want to be and then doing all the little actions that take to get you there. Mm-hmm. It's just a great reminder. It's like when people, okay, here's an example. If people are if they're not happy with their body and they want to lose weight, sometimes they'll put a picture on their fridge of themselves, maybe when they felt really great, or of somebody that is in shape and healthy to motivate them, right? Mm-hmm. This is a way that you can motivate yourself. I was going to see if I had one.
Oh, good.
So, and this is an older version, but this is a media kit, right? Yeah. This I printed, and you can have them printed. So if you're somewhere, you can hand them out, but have it as a PDF and you can send it to people. You can send it to potential clients. You can send it to podcasters, but it's your name. It's your title of what it is and a very brief bio. These are the highlights of who you are. A fantastic photo. You need to invest in a professional photo. Okay. Mm-hmm. That will save you so much frustration. Just get a professional photo shoot and then your contact info. Okay. And this is a simple one. This is a 1-pager. Mm-hmm. Mine now is like 4 pages, but that media kit again is the persona that you want to put out into the world and who you want to become. Mm-hmm. So even if you don't have all those accolades and you don't have all that experience, fake it, put it on there.
Right.
And print it out and put it in front of you somewhere like that photo on the refrigerator to help motivate you.
Right. It could just be, I love that. It doesn't even necessarily need to be something you're going to hand out right away, but more so an exercise in just having that tool. And eventually, that's something that a lot of people want to do. They want to promote their business on the news, or they're, go into the local news, or they want to go on the radio, or they want to do a speaking engagement, go on a podcast. I made a press kit. I have the digital version, and it's one of the best tools that you can use. And I love that. I can think of a second tool that mm-hmm. might be, or a second thing that you might want to consider doing. And I would love you to tell us a little bit more about this. You have a quiz called the Expert Authority Quiz. And I think that for somebody who is struggling with, how do I apply all this information to me? And how do I find, how to share my expert authority, so on and so forth. I want you to tell us a little bit more about that quiz, because I think that might also be a really good first step for folks listening, watching.
It is a great first step because there's 10 questions and it helps you rate your level of expert authority-ness. Okay. And it doesn't matter what business you're in, doesn't matter what your niche is. It can apply to everybody. And they're all 10 of those questions are questions that you should be asking yourself anyway, at the beginning of your journey, or if you're somebody who's really done a lot of stuff and you feel like you are, hey, I'm pretty much an expert authority in this, then take the quiz and you might have some questions that you didn't think about asking yourself, but they're really, really important. It's absolutely free. And it's a fun quiz because I created it. So it's very fun. And that's at expertauthorityquiz.com. People can go check it out and they get results right away so they can see where they are. And if they need help in getting a bit more established with that expert authority, their brand and all that stuff, then they can reach out to me. There's a way for them to reach out to me through that quiz as well.
Fabulous. And as always, I make sure to put all that stuff down in the description and the show notes of the podcast.
Perfect.
So that everybody listening is like, how do I do that? It's down there, people. Go take a look. All right. Last thing, Christine, to wrap this all up, tie it all nice and neat with a bow of your favorite color, whatever that is. Mine's purple. What quote, scripture, personal motto, something that keeps you grounded you personally, when you're facing challenges in your business or your calling, what do you turn to?
I have two. Of course I do.
Love it.
So when I was in junior high school, I remember a teacher said this to us, and it really stuck. It stuck wholeheartedly, because when you're in junior high, you're trying to appeal to trying to fit in, try to be in that cave, right? You don't want to stand out at all, and you've got acne, and you're feeling horrible. So and this teacher said, I just want you to know that when you go through life and you're worried about what people think and all of this stuff, she said, just remember this. And we're all leaning in. And she said, the masses are asses. and I remember going, oh, she said a bad word, because I was in a Christian school. I was like, oh, she said ass.
Yeah.
The masses are asses. Okay. And then the other thing is, when I see injustice, whenever I see injustice, it really, it hits me hard. And especially some of the great leaders that we've had, and how they've been taken away from us. And there was a quote from Einstein that I've held, and it's great spirits have always encountered violent opposition from mediocre minds.
Yeah,
that just hits
hard.
home.
Yeah, you have to kind of let that one sink in a little bit, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And mediocre minds can do a lot of damage.
True.
And I think we're seeing that right now. So I hold that into but that great spirit, it's because of that great spirit. Right. So that's important. And then also, what you were talking about, like real quick, we're going back on the media kit thing. Another thing I do that I have right next to my computer is I have this.
That's so
and
cute.
I'll bring it out. Like if I have a client and they did a great job on something, I'll go, you win the award. But I have this, it's always in my eyesight. It's always right next to my screen. So that's what, not that I'm going to win an Academy Award, but
sure,
that's what I want to aspire to. Right. So it's like my media kit. It's the recognition.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
For people that are listening, they're like, what the hell is she talking about? It's a little statuette. It's like a little Oscar statuette. It's a little, little guy with a star.
Old guy with he is holding a star. Because Christine won the award. She's a star.
Yeah.
Dag nabbit. Oh my
You're cool, Melanie.
Thank you. You are too. This has been so fun. And that was a perfect way to wrap up. Again, I just want to thank you for coming on the show.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I had so much fun, and I hope your listeners got some good stuff out of it as well.
Oh, I know they did. And I will remind everybody to go down to that description box and the podcast show notes to check out links to connect with you. So Christine, thank you so much for coming on the show. All right, fam, that is going to wrap it up. Make sure that you connect with her. All her information is going to be down in the description of the podcast show notes and the YouTube video. Make sure that if you want to book that one-on-one coaching call with me, you head to the link down there. You can also check out all of the courses that we have available at ispeakorganized.com/courses. All our resources, they're there. The forms pack, all the information about our latest membership program is there for you as well. If you have questions, comment them down below. DM me on Instagram. Email me, whatever it is that you need. We're here for you as a resource, and we would love to help you out. Beyond that, I hope you guys have a fabulous day, and I will see you. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so we see you around. Hope you have a good one.